Good evening. It's indeed my pleasure and privilege uh, to be with Francis Xavier Engineering College uh, during its online webinar on first start step to startup, jointly coordinated by Mother Teresa and Muscat College of Engineering. Uh, I thank Dr. Lurdu for organizing this wonderful webinar. So let's start the webinar. First, I would like to welcome you all to this wonderful program. Uh, it's indeed my pleasure and privilege. I'm planning to give a gift to people who are participating, particularly from Tirunelveli, because this program being organized by Francis Xavier Engineering College, and I think many of you, the participants, are from Tirunelveli. So we would like to give you a gift. So this gift is based on certain conditions. I'll just briefly explain to you. We are planning to provide you some cash, travel grant, and training grant. Okay, so it will be around 25,000 rupees worth of gift. Of course, I'll tell you what to do at the end. Please remind me. What I want you to do is just listen to this entire webinar very carefully, so that you can win. You can win this gift. So our topic is, as I told you, start step to startup. So I'm going to investigate this using the framework why, how, and what, which is by a famous framework we call Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. So if you want to investigate anything, you need to ask why, how, and what. So we are going to ask these questions to understand startup. So first, let's start with why we are all here. I've understood because when I received the invitation from Francis Xavier Entrepreneurship Development Cell, I've understood that this is a program where the students who are pursuing engineering, as well as who have joined this webinar from other backgrounds like arts and science and any other background, those who are really interested in entrepreneurship, because when you are joining a webinar on startup, naturally you should be interested in startups, right? So let's start with why we are talking about this now. Okay, right. So first, let me start with some positive note. India is, India is going to be an economic superpower. So this we are not just telling now, because when I say now, this period is very defining moment for the world. Why? Because we are talking about COVID, and the people already started talking about pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID. So therefore, we need to understand how the world is going to evolve. And when I say India is going to be an economic superpower, I'm not only telling now. In the last few years, across the world, economists started predicting this. Let me quickly give you a historical background of economic activity of the world. So in the Common Era for 2000 years, the first 1500 years, it was Asia which was dominating the economy of the world. Particularly India was leading, followed by China. Later, China led, followed by India. So first 1500 years, these two nations, the India and China, was completely in control of the economic activity, which was leading the economic activity of the world. Then during the 19th century, the economic activity shifted to Europe because of the Industrial Revolution. We all know the first Industrial Revolution. And the 20th century, it further moved on to North America. And that is, which means from 1900 to 2000. Now, it's going to have come back to Asia, because we all know how China is growing and how India is growing. So therefore, all the economists are predicting that this century belongs to Asia. Therefore, I would like to congratulate all of you, because you are all in your prime. When I say prime, because you are all mostly in the age group of 18 to 20, your next 60 years of life, you are going to see the golden period for India, which means that India is going to grow, all indications. This was pre-COVID. Then came COVID. In the pre-COVID scenario, China was a little bit ahead of India. India was catching up. But now we all know because of COVID, there is a lot of changes in the economic activity. So one very key, one key indicator, uh, uh, one key phenomena happening is many of the countries and companies are pulling out of China. So therefore, the next destination, possible destination is India. So therefore, there are going to be n number of opportunities, thousands of companies. Even I have listened to some of the other speakers who spoke on the same platform. So you might have listened to them also. So everyone is suggesting that many of the companies are going to come into India, which means there are going to be a lot of economic activity. So there are going to be many opportunities, right? So what I suggest is, this is time where you need to understand where the world is moving. You need to understand what are the requirements to be successful in this world. When I say successful in your career, right? Be it you are seeking for employment, or be it you are seeking for entrepreneurial opportunities, you are going to, you are going to equip yourself. You are going to see, you are going to understand what's going to happen in the future. So that is where such webinars will help you. So we are going to give you some indication about how to prepare yourself. Particularly, my focus is on startups. So therefore, I will focus on more of entrepreneurship development, which means how you can develop yourself as an entrepreneur. So to do that, first you need to understand the entrepreneurial landscape. So that is the first thing, right? So what do you want to do? First, I'm going to guide you through step-by-step process. So first, if you have notebooks, pens, please take it and first ask this question: what do you want to do? So what do you mean by what do you want to do? Normally, a college graduated out of an engineering college or an arts and science, they have two options. On one side, you have employment, where you can go and join a company and grow up the ladder. And second, you have options to go on your own. So these are the two options. So here, left side, when you just look at the presentation, you will find on top is Mr. Chandrasekhar. He is now the chairman of Tata Sons. So he has joined Tata Sons at a very young age, and then he grew. Today he is the chairman. So he is still an employee, right? But he has, over a period, he is now around 56, 57. Now he has become the chairman. So that is also possible. He is very successful corporate manager. Look at Sundar Pichai. We all know Sundar Pichai, leads Google. Still he is an employee, but he is very successful, very well known. So they have achieved by joining a company and grow up the corporate ladder. So that is one option. The second option, look at to your right, Mr. Shiv Nada. We all know, we are all proud of Mr. Shiv Nada for the simple reason that he hails from Tirunelveli district, Tirunelveli Thoothukudi belt. So he started his company, HCL Technologies, HCL group of companies, in a very small way. Today, HCL is one of the world leading tech company. So he has started his career as an entrepreneur. Now he has made big in entrepreneurship. Look at Mr. Prabhakar Murugaya, who also came in the same platform a few days back. He is an engineer by background. So he went to US. He started his own company. He went as an employee. Then he became an entrepreneur. Today he is a successful entrepreneur. He runs a company called TechFetch. Right? I don't want to tell more about him because you knew him very well. Right? So he is the one who set up the software park in Tirunelveli called Telecon Valley. So he wants to give back to Tirunelveli. So he is a very successful entrepreneur. So you have two options. One is the employment option. Another one is you can go on your own. So when you want to go on your own, right? How to decide what to do? Even when you go on your own, which area to choose? So here I want to suggest you an interesting framework called Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy. Whether you want to become an employee or you want to go on your own, you have to identify your sweet spot, I call. What do you mean by sweet spot? Because many people, what happens, they take up some profession, they take up some career because of one primary reason is money, the opportunity. They say, okay, becoming an engineer, I can make a lot of money. Becoming a doctor, I make a lot of money. The life is guaranteed, life is secured kind of thing. But I suggest, whenever you want to do something, you need to ask these 4 questions, particularly with respect to career. First question you are going to ask is, what are you good at? First, you are going to make a list, because some of you have already finished your undergraduation program. It is right time. Just make a list. What are you good at? For example, if you have finished your engineering, are you good in designing? Are you good in what do you call operations? Managerial skills do you have? Are you good in marketing? Are you good in HR skills? So you need to ask, what are you good at first? Then if you have 4 or 5 options, then you are going to ask the next question, what you really love. What you really love. For example, you may have 4 or 5 options which you are good at. Now you are going to ask a very pointed question, what you really love. So out of 4, you may choose that, okay, I love doing marketing. I love doing designing. So that is it. So from 4, you reduce it to 2. And then third question is, you ask yourself whether, for example, I want to do design, whether really the world needs designs. Yes, the world needs design. Whether people will pay for it. Yes, the world will pay for it. Yes, that is the sweet spot. So you're going to ask 4 questions to identify your sweet spot. What you are good at, what you really love, what the world needs, and what the world is ready to pay for it. If all the our questions leads to one particular domain, that domain is your sweet spot. So you're going to ask this. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to ask whether I am good at entrepreneurship. What do you mean by entrepreneurship? So you have to do a lot of research, right? When I say I'm good at entrepreneurship, what are the skills required? Then whether you really love, whether you are really passionate about becoming an entrepreneur. And third, whether the world needs entrepreneur, very much, particularly India. Of course, any point in time, any progress in this world, it is all because of entrepreneurs. As even Prabhakar rightly mentioned, 2 people lead and 98 people follow. Those leaders are the people who are making a lot of difference in this world. So therefore, the world always needs entrepreneurs. And whether the world will pay for it? Yes, certainly. Of course, here I want to highlight why some of our parents, they don't encourage us to become entrepreneurs, because it is little bit risky. Not little bit, high risk. What do you mean by high risk? There is no standard income, right? There is no regular income. So if you are ready to take that risk, then this is a wonderful, career, becoming an entrepreneur. So now the world is changing a lot. The mindsets are changing. Parents' mindsets are changing, particularly post-COVID. Of course, they are also watching where the world is moving. Post-COVID, already all the experts started telling you that the employment opportunities are going to come down. So therefore, this is high time to look into entrepreneurship as an option. But of course, I suggest you, if you really don't, if you are not passionate about it, this is not good to enter. So if you are really passionate about it, yes, please, let's move on to the next one. So when you want to be on your own. So here I'm just showcasing some entrepreneurs, right? The step 2 is what you want to really do, because entrepreneurship is a very broad, term. So that's why I want you to, take you through this. So first thing, there are 4 different options in front of you when you want to become an entrepreneur. Either you can be a micro entrepreneur or a small entrepreneur, or you can venture into an entrepreneurial venture, or finally the startup. Of course, all the 4 things you are going to be on your own, but the size and scale is going to be different, and the mindsets need to be different. So that is why I'm putting up this the framework to you. So I'm going to tell you what each one is. Then based on which you can make a decision which will suit you, right? Of course, our focus is on startup, but you need to know all the ranges. So micro business. What are micro businesses? For example, you might have seen a lot of advertisements saying that, for example, here they are talking about Kalan, right? So there, you can even start your business with 1,000 Indian rupee. There are micro businesses like if you are good in accounting and bookkeeping, you can help a few companies around your environment in maintaining their accounts. So it's all micro. One person, you are the entrepreneur, where you go and provide services or you go and provide products like Kalan, and then make little money out of it. So these are the micro businesses. So if you want to know more about what are the different options about micro, so there is a Government of Tamil Nadu website, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Department, where when you go, you'll find a big list of micro enterprises. What are the possible micro enterprises? So have a look at it. So that's the first. Second, small business. So what is small business? Small businesses are like, for example, it can be a grocery shop, it can be a welding shop or a small engineering workshop, it can be a two-wheeler repair shop, it can be a small restaurant, or you can sell furniture, or you can manufacture clothes in a small way. So these are all small businesses. So look at that. When you say grocery shop, it's about trading, buying and selling. When you talk about engineering, you are engineering a product. There in two-wheeler, you are providing service, and you are either you can sell furniture, or you can make furniture. You can run a small restaurant. You can run a small clothing company, ready-made company. For example, I think in Tirunelveli there is a place where there are a lot of nightie, manufacturing is done on a small business level, hugely. So these are the small business options. So what are the approaches? Suppose, for example, many people, they say, many young people like you may say that, okay, I want to start a business, but I don't have money, I don't have experience, but I have certain skill sets. For example, I'm good in marketing. So how to go about it? I don't have money to invest. My parents cannot afford. So what you can do is there are different approaches. One is starting on your own if you have enough resources. Second is join a new business as a working partner. For example, you can go and there are, like you, young people some people may have resources. They may say, I want to start a small restaurant. So why can't you join them and help them in many ways, like marketing, or even in managing a restaurant, right? So in many ways you can support. You can be a partner, working partner. Third one is, again, for example, if somebody is running a furniture, a trading shop in Tirunelveli, suppose you are from Tirunelveli, right? You can go and say, okay, I will be with you, I will learn the business, okay? Help me, I will go and set up another branch of yours in another city. So I want to be a part of that. I want to be a working partner. So you provide me all the resources, I will manage the shop in another location, which means you are trying to help them expand their businesses in new markets. That is also possible. So there, your investment is only your skills, your abilities, and your hard work and smart work. No need for much investment. So three approaches. If you have resources, go on your own. If you don't have resources, you partner with somebody in your existing location. Other possibilities is you go and tell them you can help them expand to new territories. So for all these approaches, you need skill. I hope you all remember Prabhakar Murugaya told you we are in skill economy. So you need to develop skills. Later we are going to talk a little detail about skills, but here I just want to highlight. You can ask me, teacher, you can ask me that, so this skill, right? So what kind of skill, because already they are experienced people, what kind of skill I can bring to the table? For example, this YouTube live webinar, I'm getting all my technical support from my younger son, Akash Shanmugam, who is in class 8. He is much more technically well versed than me. So he put up the entire thing, which means that young people, you have certain skills which people with experience may not have. So this is where you are acting complementary. So you can go and help them. So your skills are maybe in high demand. For example, as we all know, Reliance is going to join with Facebook to come out big way in helping businesses digitally. So when you talk about digitally, people need to know about the technologies. So there you have a premium. Young people have a lot of premium, where you can use your technology skills and help the existing businesses, to go digital. Third one is entrepreneurial venture. Mostly our focus is here, because the micro and small, just to give you a snapshot about what are all the options when you want to go on your own. The third one is a real entrepreneurial venture, which we suggest for the college grads, right? So what is that? Let me give, so here, the difference between look at this, the micro and the small. You look at that, for example, when you look at small, there is a grocery shop. You are also running another grocery shop. What do you mean by that? You are just trying to replicate. There is nothing new. There is nothing creative. You are just going to replicate. If somebody runs a shop in one place, you are going to run a shop in another place, because there is a new city coming up, new town coming up, so there is a demand, so you go and set up your shop. So nothing running a restaurant, right? So what you are trying to do basically is you are trying to recreate whatever is already done. You are just trying to recreate. But when it comes to entrepreneurial venture, the key thing is innovation. What is innovation? Doing something different, doing something creative, doing something in a new way, right? So let's look at what is something new. For example, here you are looking at one of the because I've very specifically put up this one of the ventures, entrepreneurial ventures by a Tirunelveli engineer, rural shop, Mr. Palani Rajan. Rural shop, I think Mr. Prabhakar Murugaya also highlighted this, because we are proud of rural shop, because he is a person from Tirunelveli, right, who has put up this. So what is something? He is also selling products, but what he is doing, how it is different from a grocery shop. He is selling, look at the products here. All the products are all unique. For example, Agatya herbal bath powder, right? So he's not just selling any other product which is available in the nearby grocery shop. He's selling some unique products. Number one, differentiation. Number two, he's not just selling using brick and mortar, using a shop, physical shop. He is selling online, which means he is using technology. You know where his customers are? Across the world. And third very important thing he is doing is he is helping rural India, particularly rural Tamil Nadu, particularly rural Tirunelveli, to go and reach out to the world. Look at this, three things. He is selling unique products. Number two, he is selling in a unique way. And third very important thing is he is making a lot of difference to the lives of people who are making these products. Because they may not be able to go online. Right? They don't know how to do it. But they have wonderful products. So this man wants to support them. So this is a real entrepreneurial venture. This is what we are looking out from you. Because you're all engineers, you're all college graduates, science graduates, commerce graduates, arts graduates. You may be from any background, no problem. Because there is no relationship between educational background and entrepreneurship. Even without education, also there are very many successful entrepreneurs. Generally people say without people who enter at much younger age without qualification, they'll be much more successful. You know why? Because they focus. Because we educated, we have a lot of options, so we get distracted. So therefore, here is a clear example of a rural shop where he has made something unique. So this is what we want you to think of, right? You need to do something which is unique and which adds a lot of value to the people and to the world around you. Okay, look at this. This is again another very new technology which is being used here. It's called 3D printing. 3D printing is going to be in a big way future because of disruptions in supply chains, right? 3D printing is going to be big way. So this is another possible option for new venture. So what is entrepreneurial? So we discussed entrepreneurial venture. When this entrepreneurial venture becomes a startup, this entrepreneurial venture to become a startup, there are two important things. One is the fast growth and scale. If you are able to scale, what do you mean by scale? If you are able to grow very fast and capture many markets, you become a startup. So the difference between an entrepreneurial venture and a startup always look at fast growth and scaling up quickly. So that's the key thing. So for example, if you want to become a part of this entrepreneurial venture, again, there are two approaches. One is, if you have money like Palani Rajan, he has put in his money and he has raised some money from his friends. Even I think Silicon Valley, Mr. Prabhakar Murugaya is supporting him. So he put up his venture on his own, right, with the support of the people. Naturally, he needs some support from others, because whenever you are venturing, it's very difficult to go alone. So therefore, you always look for good team. Today, team is a very, very important component of startup. So when you are putting up good team, people like Palani Rajan, they will look for good co-founders. So even if you don't have an idea, if you don't have money, if you don't have resources to invest, still if you have skill, that is why we suggest you to develop skills, be it digital marketing skills, be it HR skills, be it operational skills. For example, if you are good in project management, you have a great demand. Project management is a skill, right? So when you develop these skills, you will be invited by the founders as co-founder. Come and work with me. Help me in marketing. Help me in operations. So this is the second approach. So either you launch on your own or you join a team. So this is also another option for you. Okay, now comes what is a startup. Because our focus is on startups, so therefore I'm going to spend a little more time on what is a startup. So as I said, startup is an entrepreneurial venture which is looking at growth, fast growth and scale. Go big as quick as possible, right? So just to provide you a foundational definition of startup. So here I want to highlight this definition is suggested by Mr. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, for many of you, he may be new, or some of you, he's known to you. He's the founder of PayPal, co-founder of PayPal, which is one of the world's leading startups. And he's a close associate of Elon Musk kind of people. So Peter Thiel, he, based on his experience, he suggests, who is a startup? A startup is a small group of people coming together with a purpose, with a mission to change this world, to be a prosperous and peaceful. Second very important thing, you are going to do new things. How you are going to do new things, which is innovation, you are going to have new thinking. So three key important things. A startup founder or a member of startup should have new thinking. That new thinking leads to new innovations. That new innovation leads to making this world prosperous and peaceful. Now, my fundamental question is new thinking a magic? Is there any magical formula? No. We have to develop this new thinking. So thinking business from first principles. Here I just want to share some of my experience. Because I'm working with a lot of startups and founders and co-founders. I found one thing very interesting. What is that? They are all very good technically. For example, if somebody comes as a software engineer to me and say, Kabali, I want to have a startup I'm going to enter into a space called software as a service. Good. I can develop world-class software. Good. Is it enough? No, it is not enough. Why? Software is only one part of the business. That is your core value proposition. But you are going to build a complete business around it. Those who are familiar with startups, you might have been encouraged to learn about business model canvas during your entrepreneurship courses or entrepreneurship trainings. When you look at business model canvas, there are 9 parts to every business. So if you are going to build a business, you are going to build all the 9 parts of that business. So this is very, very critical, right? So you need to understand the business from the first principles. This is where many startup founders, they have a wonderful idea for a product, they just jump in. No, please don't do that. Try to develop your skills in business, right? Okay. So I'm going to share with you a few startup stories, and we are going to learn something from that. Then we are going to have a better idea about what is a startup. Here, I'm just presenting to you one of the recent startups called Grated. This is started by a very young chap from Maharashtra. He's 18-year-old, just finished his 12th, waiting for his results. Recently, he launched his startup with a small investment taken from his parents, around 15 lakhs, I believe. You know what he's trying to do? He's trying to support the society. How? Because we all know medical shops, they sell a lot of medicines. Most of the medicines are all branded medicines. What do you mean by branded medicines? When you go and find a paracetamol, they will not simply sell paracetamol. They'll ask for which brand you want, which means the cost of the product, the price of the product is high when it is branded. But what he believes is, if I have a headache, it is enough to have paracetamol. I don't mind whether it is from X company or Y company, right? So what he looks at is, there are many products which are generic category. So he's focusing on that. So that is why his company is called generic. He's retailing, generic drugs. Very interestingly, by looking at this social, consciousness, Ratan Tata, we all know Ratan Tata is a great business leader. He supports a lot of ventures. Even if you have an idea, great idea, he is ready to support you. So he invested in his company. So according to him, he says the cost of the medicine will come down by 80%, which means he's helping a lot of people who cannot afford expensive medicines. So because of which Ratan Tata has invested recently. This happened 1 week ago. It's all over in the media, right? Okay. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to solve a problem. He finds that medicine is of high value, right, generally. So he says that why it's very high, because all branded. So is it enough? Is it required? Brand is required? Yes, maybe for quality and other things. But there are many medicines which same quality without brand can be offered at 80% less cost. Great idea. So that becomes he has solved a problem. Look at this man. He's a very young chap, again from Mumbai, right? He's running a company called Papers and Parcels. If you want to know more, please go and Google. He's a 8th standard. Why I have chosen these stories? Because many people who is in this webinar are all young people from college, out from the college, or in the final year, or in the 3rd year, right? So we always feel that we are too young to start. So that's why I've just put these 2 cases. He's a 12th standard boy, still he's in 12th standard. And he's a 9th standard boy. So what happened, just let me quickly share his story. So what he did is, when during one of his holidays, weekend holidays, he visited his uncle. He is in Mumbai, right? So this young boy visited his uncle's place. So when he visited, he took his books. And after the weekend got over, he came back home forgetting his books. So he called one of the express delivery company. He said, I want my books to be back. Right? Can you bring that? They said, yes, possible, but they charged a very huge, price. He said, from here to here, why they are charging so much? Then he called his father. He said, why this? He said, this is how the business works. Then he thought, can we do something in this space? Can we make this, express delivery much more cheaper and faster? He discussed, brainstormed with his father. Of course, his father is a business person. He also gave some idea. Finally, he came out with an innovative idea. What is innovative idea? You all know, if you know Mumbai, you all know Dabbawalas. Dabbawalas are the people who, transport your food from home to office. So what he did is he went and talked to them. Those are the pictures of Dabbawalas. So talk to them, saying that I have this problem. I want to solve this problem. Will you be able to help me moving parcels from one place to other? They said yes, because it's going to provide them some extra income. Rest is history. So today he runs a company, right, which is very successful. If you want to know more, please go and Google Papers and Parcels. You will get. Third story I want to share with you is Happy Hens, which is very much in Tamil Nadu. So what is something unique about? Look at here. Here he has solved a problem. This Papers and Parcels. There was an existing problem. The problem was solved by other companies, but the price was little high, so he solved that problem. So here, this is another interesting, where we call it as native entrepreneurship venture. What is in this case? This is a company called Happy Hens. What they do is they found that hens normally are, the eggs are produced in this situation. For example, in big, a place where they are all, put together in a very small space, and he found that this is cruel. And also, he was doing research. He found that if the hens are not happy, the products it produces are not going to be much healthy, right? So coming back to this, they said, okay, we are going to solve this thing. What is that? We are going to grow hens in a more happy environment. The hens should be more happy, number one, and they should be fed with good ingredients. Therefore, the eggs coming out of that hens will produce by that hens will be much more healthy. This is a very simple idea. Of course, it is very difficult to execute, but idea as an idea. So they went and pitched. Now today they are running a very successful company. Many people have invested in this company. Finally, I would like to share with you one of the recent success cases called Ulavar Bhumi. Normally, we buy milk in different forms. For example, when we are in rural part of the of India, we buy from the local milk suppliers. But if you are in urban city, you are supplied by big companies in sachets. So this man, he said that, can I make a difference to this? What difference? Can I give fresh milk to people? Because these milk are all processed milk. So he said, fresh milk is good for health. Can I give fresh milk? That thought, number one. Number two is the farmers are giving fresh milk, and that is taken by some companies, and then it is processed, and then it is taken to the customer. So customer is not getting the full value, as well as the farmers. Farmers are also not getting good price. So this man tried to solve both. So he launched a company called Ulavar Bhumi. He's also from IT background, Ulavar Bhumi, and then he solved this problem. What he's doing is he's procuring milk from farmers, and he's quickly taking it to the market without much processing, which means freshness is preserved, and giving it to the customer. So this is rated as one of the best startups in the last year category. Look at this idea, simple idea, but these are all scalable ideas. This is why we say it's a startup. For example, many of our homemakers, our mothers and sisters, right? They have a lot of work to do in the kitchen. So here there is a company which says we will reduce your work. How? They are going to give you fresh grated coconut, because grating coconut is a big task. It needs time, effort, right? So therefore, this company said we will supply you fresh grated coconut. So this was the simple problem, but it is a very powerful idea. This is being one of the recent startups. Look at this man. He said there are many people in this part of the world, in India, who believe in astrology, okay, and they depend on the local astrologers. But across India, there are many famous astrologers. So what he did is he created a simple app, mobile app, right, through which he is connecting the people who seek astrology, consulting, and people who provide astrology. Simple as it is. So this is where young people like you, who are capable of using technology in a new way. That's what, again, I stress. Technology alone cannot solve any problem. How we use technology is going to solve problem. For example, mobile phone, we are using it for many purposes. But this man found out a new, tool, a new app using which we can do something different, right? So therefore, that is what we need. We want the young people to understand the technology. That's what I always say. The deployment of technology is very important. The creative and innovative deployment of technology creates value. Just here I want to highlight one very important fact. We all know Amazon is a great company today, founded by Jeff Bezos, who is an investment banker. He's not a technology guy. He's an investment banker. So what is his innovation, core innovation is, he understood that if internet can be used for communication, it can also be used for conducting business. That's it. This is the key thought which changed the world. He started as a small bookshop. Today we all know Amazon is a history. Look at this. Mr. Murugananda. He is now celebrated as one of the great entrepreneurs from Tamil Nadu, from India. Even there is a movie made out of his story called Padman. Yeah. So what he did, he solved one of the major problems of rural India, the sanitary napkins. Why he felt that it's a problem? Because most of the sanitary napkins, it can be affordable only for the high income, middle income and high income, not for the lower income, not for the people from the villages, right? Therefore, he created his own way of making sanitary napkins at a lesser cost. So how he made that is a big story. Please go and Google and find out. It's a great story. How an entrepreneur went through pains and pleasures, of course, more of pains, in making something which he believed to make it reality. So entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, but of course, it will be a great satisfying journey. You can make difference to many lives. That is why he is being celebrated. Today across India, his product is being used. Not only he produced a product, but also he produced machines to make that product. Because he wants to empower people in rural India to become entrepreneurs. So he himself is not only an entrepreneur, he wants to produce more entrepreneurs. That's the greatness of this man. And finally, here I am just presenting, for some of you new, she is Hemalata Annamalai. She runs a she was running a company. Now she exited the company. She sold her company. So it's a classic case of a startup. Started in around 2000, beginning of 2010, 2008, yeah. And now at 2019, I think she exited. Within 11 years, she made a big, the company Ampere, a big company, and then she sold it to another company. So what is something unique about this? She was making electric scooters. So she's trying to solve the problem of, a clean environment, environmental friendly products. So she made it big. So look at that. Muruganandam is looking at social issue, and Hemalata Annamalai is looking at environmental issue, right? So, and again, here look at another person. He's one Mr. Harsh Hande, right? He is running a company called Selco, which sells solar lamp. Look at that small hut in the remote part of India where there is no electricity connection, but the houses are powered by solar. So it's Harish Hande is a great entrepreneur solving the rural India's problem. So in all these cases, what do you find? There are three types of entrepreneurs: commercial entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, and environmental entrepreneur. For example, look at this. Our small boy from Maharashtra, he's more of an economic entrepreneur, which means he's trying to solve the problem, but primarily he's making money. Of course, he makes an impact on society, helps, but primarily the more of, when you look at any venture, it will have all the dimensions, but which is the primary dimension? Okay, that's the issue. Look at Muruganandam, he's more of a social entrepreneur. He's not venturing into just for making money, but to make an impact on the society. Look at Hemalata Annamalai madam. It is a combination of environment and economy. She makes money as well as she is solving an environmental problem. Look at Harsh Hande. He's more of environmental and social. He's solving a problem of rural India, plus he's also environmental. He is producing environmental friendly products. So there are n number of opportunities around us. There are n number of problems. So when you try to solve these problems creatively and innovatively, you become an entrepreneur, a successful startup and an entrepreneur. So in all the cases, what is something common is they found a problem or an issue. I call it as issue because you cannot simply call everything as a problem. Because for you it's a problem, for somebody else it's an opportunity, right? So problem or issue, or you want to make a difference. For example, when Apple iPhone was produced, nobody was asking for that smartphone, right? Everyone was happy with Nokia, everyone was happy with BlackBerry. But Apple's founder, Steve Jobs, was not happy. He said, no, there is a better way of, providing a product. That is what he wants to make a difference. So either you solve a problem, or even if the customers are not aware of the problem, they are living with the existing products happily, but still as an entrepreneur, you may feel that my product can be a better. For example, Mr. Shivaraja, when he was, I was listening to him, when he was talking, he was asking about the Walkman from Sony. Nobody asked for a Walkman. Everyone was happy listening to music in their own way. But the founder of Sony, Akio Morita, he said, no, people are not able to listen to music where they are listening to music, at home or in the office. Right? So he said, no, people should be able to listen to music wherever they go, on the move also. That thinking led to Walkman. Nobody asked. It was not at all a problem. He wanted to make a difference to the life of the people. So therefore, not necessarily always you solve a problem. Sometimes you look at, that is what, we need to have a different perspective towards life. We need to train our eyes. Even when people are happy with the products and services, right? But you feel that no, I can do something which can make their life better. That's it. You have found an idea. You have found an issue. You have found a solution. Now, just to put you in the perspective, in 2000, something big happened. What happened? Internet and mobile technologies came in. So when you look at the economic history of the world from 2000 to 2020, all big things, all big companies, new innovations, new inventions were all around these internet and mobile technologies were driving. Okay, look at which gave 10 times the power. I cautiously, when I listed small business and startups, I was cautious, to use some general businesses. Why? Because those are the existing businesses. 2000 came, it gave the internet and mobile technologies. So people, entrepreneurs at that point in time, they started reimagining the world. Problems are same. For example, buying grocery is same. But how you buy grocery? Whether you go to the shop and buy, whether you are going to buy online, or whether you are going to buy using your mobile app. So these technologies gave new ways of doing business. That is what we are trying to highlight. You need not invent a new technology. There are many technologies. You use these technologies to make the existing problems, to make the existing activities much more easier, faster, less expensive, and so on. So that creates a lot of opportunities. So what these two technologies, internet, mobile, they gave 10 times of power. Like, for example, look at this, from Ola to Oyo to all big baskets, Zomato, Easy Diner, Fresh Menu. Look at that, delivery technology, agriculture technology, food science. Even I remember Mr. Prabhakar Murugaya highlighting that educational technologies are going to be disrupted. New ideas, we need more new ideas. Healthcare technology, agri-technology. These are some of the areas where there are a lot of new things going to happen. So please keep a watch on that. Okay. So what happened? All these companies used the power of internet and mobile technologies, and they came out with new ways of doing business, new ways of approaching customers, new ways of delivery, and so on and so forth. So that created a lot of new entrepreneurial startup ventures, opportunities, right? Now, that is why I'm telling you, now you're all lucky people because you're in the prime. Now what is happening is, in 2000, okay, so let me, okay, now this I just want to highlight. So all these companies are powered by mobile technologies and internet technologies. Just to give you a snapshot, these are some of the last year, 2019, Government of Tamil Nadu has identified the top 10 startups. Okay, just look at those. All simple ideas. For example, Ulavar Bhumi is there as the 10th one. Vetrivel Palani is the founder, right? And look at Cost King. What he is doing? Innovative online retail. Findus. What he is doing? Provides platform that connects customers and merchants across multiple services. Go Bumper. Vehicle needs, vehicle service. That's it. So look at that. All of them were already there. But what they are trying to do now new, they are using technology, they are using new business models, right, to improve the lives of people, to make lives of people much more easier. Look at that, Kadal Unavu. He says that we are going to bring seafood, packaged seafood with hygienic packaged seafood to your doorstep. So there are n number of ideas, right? So if you are a real startup, a person who is interested in startups, you need to go and research all these companies, what they are trying to do, how they are trying to do, and so on and so forth. And very interestingly, that's what I said, you are all lucky because today India is all about supporting startups. How do we know that? Even our Prime Minister said, Startup India, Stand Up India. So throughout India, everyone is talking about supporting startups, which means there are a lot of good ecosystem available across India. Look at Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu also is gearing up to support startups. Recently, they have launched Tamil Nadu Startup and Innovation Policy, which means they tell you how they can support startup. Please, if you are really interested in startups, go and read that policy. you'll get a lot of new ideas. Okay, now we are going to talk about the post-COVID world. We are going through the COVID world now. We need to prepare for the post-COVID world. Now, already the experts started asking, is that world going to be same or it's going to be new? Many indicators say it's going to be new. Is it good or bad? Both. It is good in the sense that it is going to throw a lot of opportunities and it is going to make the playing ground level. What do you mean by that? Even though there are a lot of existing businesses, when the world is new, they have to reconfigure their businesses. So when you are starting now, you are all both in the same line. They don't have any advantage. So in that way, it is good, right? So for an entrepreneur, this is a great opportunity now because the world is going to be new. Whoever understands this new world is going to gain advantage. Please remember, again, one more time, I'm highlighting, in this new world, this is characterized as innovation economy. The only key thing which is going to make people successful, whether you are an employee or an entrepreneur or a startup founder, innovation, innovation, innovation. So I want you to invest a lot of time and effort to develop your innovative capabilities, your skills, and your team's capabilities and skills. Another very interesting thing happening, phenomena, gig economy. What is gig economy? It says that in future, people are not going to be in one job because in the past, people used to stick with one job. So in the future, it's going to be multiple jobs. Why? Nobody is going to give you one full-time job. So they are going to say that come and work for 2 hours, I will pay only this. So you will be working on demand and you will be you'll be paid based on the outcome you produce. So this is going to be a new economy. So for which you need to get ready. Being an entrepreneur as well as being an employee, you need to get ready for this. Skill. That's the name of the game. As I said right from the beginning, you need to develop your skills. So you first decide which space you want to enter and try to figure out what are the skills required and then develop skills. For example, if you want to be a startup founder, you need to develop skills in business. You may be an engineer. You may be a great engineer. You may have wonderful, but you need to have business skills, be it marketing, be it operations, be it people skills, be it customer skills, be it money management. You need to skill yourself. Yes, this is what I was just telling you. Now, 2020 onwards, there are many new technologies waiting. Again, I want you to go back to 2000. When 2000 started, 2 important technologies defined from 2000 to 2020, which is nothing but internet technologies and mobile technologies. But 2020 onwards, there are 10 such technologies waiting. And just quickly go through these technologies. Cloud computing, machine learning, 3D printing, robotics, big data, analytics, Internet of Things, RFID technologies, cognitive computing, cyber security, drones. You can add one more technology, drone technology. So these are the technologies which are now entering into the world. Of course, it is there, but the commercial applications are now being explored. Now, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to understand these technologies. When I say understand, I don't, for example, if you are a science graduate or if you are an arts graduate, let's say BBA graduate, we are not going to go and build a cloud computing architecture. No. We should know how to use cloud computing. That's all. We should know how to use 3D printing. We should know how to use advanced robotics. We should know what robotics can do, what it cannot do. We should know what cognitive computing means and what it can do. That's all. Even Prabhakar Murugaya, he demonstrated. Now, why I am referring? Because I just don't want to repeat the same thing. He was demonstrating how he is interacting with phone and iPad, by voice technology. When he gives a voice command, it responds. It's a cognitive computing technology. So we are not going to build those technologies. Those technologies are already available. What as an entrepreneur we need to do is we are going to creatively and innovatively deploy these technologies. Let me give an example. As I said, Jeff Bezos of Amazon used Internet as a platform for business. That's it. Internet was not made for doing business. Internet was made for communication. But this man thought, if I can communicate, can I conduct business on the earth? internet. That's what I said, deploying technology. So don't think that, I'm not a technology, I'm not an IT guy. Don't worry, because IT people, they can develop those technologies, but entrepreneurs from any background can think of creative application of that technology, creative use of the technology. For example, RFID, you need to go and understand what RFID can do. Of course, one more technology which is not mentioned here is blockchain. Let me give an example. For example, if you are in Tamil Nadu, let's say you are in Tirunelveli, you want to help small farmers, right? So small farmers, when they make produce, they are going to send it to different places. But the buyer wants to know where from this product comes, what is the history of the product, and so on. Here comes the blockchain technology. It's called trust technology, where blockchain can help in tracking the complete food value chain. So you can go and help farmers, in deploying these technologies. So what we want as an entrepreneur, you may be from different backgrounds, is try to find out what these technologies can do and imagine how these technologies can solve problems in a new way. That is where innovation and creativity comes. So what I told you that computing, the mobile computing and the internet technology gave 10 times power, right? Now these 10 technologies or 10 plus technologies are going to give you 100 times power chain. So those who understand these technologies, the power of these technologies, are going to be successful in the future. So I will suggest you, right, to go and understand these technologies and try to solve the problems the world faces, the existing problems or already solved problems, how you can make it better. Okay, now let's also ask the question, why student entrepreneurship? Why we talk to students to become entrepreneurs? First, you all young, you have a lot of energy. And second, risk taking is easy. Why risk? For example, if somebody having a family, children, if they are going to take risk, they are risking in the sense that financial income, if it's going to stop, how my family is going to, cope up. They need to have some basics. So all these things are considered as risk, and then therefore many people, at later age, they don't want to become entrepreneur, even though they have interest. But now you are young, no big commitments, right? So you can make an attempt. So that is one. Number two. Number three is technology. As I told you, you people with basically, since you are living in internet era, digital era, you are called digital natives, which means you are more comfortable with the existing technologies and the future technologies. That's going to give you a lot of good edge. Fourth, there are a lot of opportunities. I say India is the future. India is going to be the future, particularly Asia. In Asia, India is going to be the future. So we are all in India. So a lot of great opportunities are going to come. So get ready for that. And there are a lot of universities and colleges, they have a support system. This program itself is a classic example. For example, during our college days, very rarely we used to get such programs. But now every week, every day, in almost all the colleges and universities, they are supporting. They have entrepreneurship development cell, they have incubators, they have accelerators, whatnot. So make use of that support system. There is vibrant startup ecosystem. For example, what we are talking about is Mr. Shivaraja spoke on the other day. He said about Native Lead. It's part of startup ecosystem. So people like Shivaraja and companies like Native Lead are there everywhere. I'm giving one example. In every district, in every state, you have such organizations which are ready to help startups. And very interestingly, as a student, you have enough time to fail, which means even when you fail, you can come up. Because when you look at the successful entrepreneurs, their success is not the first time. For example, even Microsoft. Microsoft's Bill Gates' first company is called Trafo Data, and he failed in that company. That was not successful venture. Second venture is Microsoft. Same case with many companies, right? So therefore, you have enough time to fail when you are young. So fail fast. Today, what is the mantra? Want to fail fast, so that you have more time to come out. quickly. You can learn from your failure. How to prepare? First, let's try to understand why startups fail. Many startups fail for the simple reason there is no market fit. What do you mean by that? Their idea, their solution is not provide great value to the customer. So they say, no, I don't want your product. Wrong timing, right? For example, if you are going to go and set up an online education company, right, before COVID, so you have to go and tell people online education. They say no, we are happy with the offline education, traditional education. But now the COVID time, everyone has realized the power of online. Now when you go with such venture, that's what I mean by timing. So now you go, the market is ready to absorb. Because I was told one of my friend, he's in online education technologies. He said a lot of great demand, lot of requests are coming up. So that is what they call it as timing. Second reason is business model failure, which means the business are not able to scale and revenue. Many businesses develop product, but they are not able to convert into revenue. Third is poor management team, which means they have weak strategy. That is why I said you have to invest in business skills. You have to execute it properly. So poor execution is another reason. Running out of cash because of growth and acceleration. So these are the reasons. So how to, where to focus on? Of course, it's a tough journey. You have to prepare for that. So identify the problem. Idea is very important, but it is not just enough. When I say idea, the solution, you need to look whether it fits the market in terms of size and fit. And timing, when I say size, what do you mean by size? For example, you are trying to solve a problem of 50 people. It's not a big market. Size is very small. It cannot scale. So therefore, you have to find out a problem where millions of people have similar problem. Therefore, you can scale. Timing is very important. Just now I said. Business knowledge and skills, particularly as I said, you have to develop your thinking skills. You have to develop your strategy skills, innovation skills. Then you need to build a team. Collaboration is very important today. Today, your network is your network. Have more people in your network. And you should have the capability to raise money based on your idea. Okay. Now, just let me close by giving you some tips on preparing you for life. So I just say that many people, whether being an employee or an entrepreneur, they focus more on intellectual, because when I'm intellectually, I'm developing, it helps me in my career. Yes, true, but I say a rounded growth is required for any human being, be it an entrepreneur or an employee. So what are the 4 things? The physical, your health is very important, fitness is very important, your finance is very important, lifestyle is very important. Then mental, reading, learning, updating, intellectual, which I mean intellectual. Third is emotional. Relationship is very important. Fourth is spiritual. This is a very, very important thing. When I say spiritual, I'm not referring to religion. I'm referring to the purpose of your life. Why are we all here? Why I am talking to you? I need to ask. So one simple thing the world has accepted is the purpose of our life is to make this world a beautiful place. Make the people around us happy and peaceful. So you need to figure out how you are going to do that. That's the purpose. You need to figure out the purpose of your life much early so that you can build upon it. So a balanced growth is what we suggest: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So let me close by saying every human activity is towards making this world a better place. By you may make money, name, fame, satisfaction. At the end of the day, all of us, our activities are towards making this world a better place. Okay, quickly let me run through what we do and how we can support you. We have a company called Rakanzas. Our mission is to identify, nurture, support entrepreneurs in their startup journey. So we do it by many ways. Number one is promoting entrepreneurship and startup culture. So we run startup camps. This was on January 26th, our Republic Day in Tirunelveli. In collaboration with Silicon Valley, we did a startup camp called Blue Ocean Startup Camp. This was during August 2019 in Chennai. We did Startup Madras, then we did Startup Nellai, then we did Startup Kovai, and also we help you in terms of incubation and acceleration in collaboration with Crescent Innovation and Incubation Council. We are closely associated with them, and we are helping in developing ecosystem in Tirunelveli in collaboration with Manoni Sundanar University and Silicon Valley. We also can help in funding and support. Of course, we have our own funding network across the world. Plus, also I am involved in Native Lead as an investor member, so I can connect you to Native Lead. Of course, we also know Mr. Shivaraja. So Native Lead has funded many startups. So we also can help you in Market Connect, taking your product to Gulf markets, because I am from Muscat, so I can help you connect to Gulf markets. So our vision is to make Tamil Nadu a $1 trillion economy. Now it's a $300 billion economy. Second in India. First is Maharashtra, second is Tamil Nadu. So we want to make it as a $1 trillion economy, by which we want to reach out to $5 trillion economy of India. Thank you all the very best. So these are my contact coordinates. You can reach out to me. So let me come back to that gift. So if you want to be selected for that gift, what I want you to do is, you have listened to me last I think close to 60 minutes. Just summarize all these things, what you have learned, in 2 pages, and finally 1 page about why you want to become an entrepreneur, why you want to have a startup. So you just mail it to me at drkabali@gmail.com or WhatsApp it to me at this number. So the selected people, we are planning to select 5 selected people will get that gift. Is one, a small cash prize and a grant for travel. The travel is, again, we conduct often the travel ULA, which means that we take you to different startups in Tamil Nadu to give you exposure. And third one is about training. We are planning for a series of training sessions for startup founders, right? So you will be given a chance to participate in that, okay, at free of cost. So these are the 3 things you can get out of this. Thank you very much. Over to you.